interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Warning: the following program contains explicit language and mature content. It is not meant for the easily offended. So if you are an emotional pussy, please refrain from listening. Thank you and enjoy.
Back at it, the Words on Fire podcast.
Whoop, whoop.
What's going on, people? As you can tell, we're finally back. We had a little, we had a hiccup. If you've been following us on the Instagram, we had a hiccup on there, so we had to take care of some shit. So we're put on timeout, basically, is what it was.
The Instagram police got you.
Yeah, dude. So they sent me an email, and the email actually said that you're no longer able to use this. Like, yo, I was a fucking. Like I was on probation or some shit. Like, you're no longer welcome. It's like, man, fuck you. I'll just change one letter and I'm back on it. It makes no fucking sense. Anyways, The Words on Fire podcast, episode 200. You know, we had to do a little bit different. Last time we were out there at the Old Sheepdog. This time, we're actually here with a local comedian out of Via out of El Paso, Via out of L.A., doing big things. She goes by the name of Jeni Robbins. Jeni, appreciate you coming out. I know we're going to do this.
Thanks for having me.
A few weeks and, you know, the holidays and Instagram got in the way.
All these weird holidays.
Oh, shit.
All these pagan holidays going on.
Yeah. So, Ms. Jeni, El Paso born.
El Paso born, LA living.
LA living. How long have you been in LA?
I've been there for 6 years now.
Damn. How young are you, if you don't mind me asking? Is that allowed?
No. That one, because I'm an actor, so I have my acting age.
Oh, so
okay.
how old is your acting age?
My acting age is 25 to 35. So anywhere.
Damn, 25 to 35. Okay.
Sounds like my dating age.
You're a fucking pedophile.
Half my age.
So Jeni, as you can tell, living the LA life, she is a comedian. So is it comedian first and then actress, or is it?
You know, they're both. I started off doing acting originally, and then but I'm a funny person.
Okay.
Like I feel like it's such a weird thing to say. I'm a funny person, but you know, like a jokey person. You know, and so stand up just kind of fell in my lap, and it was. And it was such a great avenue, so I just kept going with it. It's been a blast.
So how far into comedy or how far along into your acting gig did comedy fall into it?
Well, I've been acting my whole life. I mean, ever since I knew that I could do acting, I think both of them. As soon as I found out I could do them, I was doing them. So acting since middle school. That's when I first had a theater program, and then stand up for about 6 years. So
6 years also.
right before, I think a year before I left. I started in March of 2017.
Damn. Okay. Damn. So then you got a pre-COVID and the COVID vibe out there then.
Oh my God, yeah. Oh God, COVID comedy was rough, man.
Oh,
Zoom comedy.
The Zoom
comedy. That would be the punchline, pause, and like those are brutal.
Did you do those? Did you do any of those?
I did a couple of them, and yeah, it was rough. They were one of the first ones. The audience did not have their cameras on, and so or mics, so you just were hoping that people
they were
laughing.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
that's the worst.
Yeah. Oh man, that was rough. Second one I did, they were like, okay, we can feel that that's rough. Let's have the audience laugh, and it was that where there was like the delay after your punchline.
Yeah.
So you don't know if it landed, and you kind of think like, oh man, that joke didn't land, and then 5 seconds later, then there's the delayed laugh from the Zoom audience.
Dude, that is, because I know we tried once. I know we had talked earlier. You being out of LA, we tried to do a podcast with the Zoom. Because like you say, we're trying to move up in this ghetto industry, and oh my God, it was rough just to interview somebody. I could just imagine how it is to do a stand up, because I mean
everything's
it's all
delayed.
vibes.
Yeah,
it's all vibes. See, so why get into comedy? Why stand up?
Well, I fell in love with it. I had I grew up watching stand up. Like I grew up on Carlin and Robin Williams and Kathy Griffin and like a lot of Margaret Cho, like all these older Mitch Hedberg, all these older comedians, and I loved it. And I'm also somebody who just jokes with friends and things. And somebody came and told me, hey, there's a group of comedians in El Paso who are doing things. And I went to go find one of the open mics, and I think I went to about 3 open mics and just sat there and observed and was like, maybe I'll do it, maybe I won't do it. I started writing jokes, and finally I ended up going up and doing it. My first open mic that I actually went up on.
Mm-hmm.
I was so nervous. I didn't want anybody. I was like, I don't know if I'm going up. And let me think about it. Let me decide if I'm going to go up.
Yeah.
I dragged one of my buddies along with me. My friend Anthony was my high school theater friend. I dragged him out, and he sat there with me. He was my moral support. I wasn't sure if I was going to go. I had my joke book. He had nothing prepared, but had broken up or had gotten into a fight with his girlfriend at the time, right before that. So he just said, you know what, screw this. And he got up and he went up there and then he just started venting about like what was going on with girls. And,
Right.
And he survived and then came back down. And I said, well, if this guy went up and did it, and he didn't have anything prepared,
Right.
I better go up there. So I took my little joke book and I went up there. I tried a few things out, and it was a really supportive group.
Yeah.
Immediately after that open mic, one of the a producer came up to me and said, hey, I'm booking a show. I want to have you on. So I had my first paid gig the following week.
Damn.
Oh, wow.
Which was amazing.
Holy shit.
And then I went to that show and I was like, oh, this is gonna be great. Like I'm gonna do everything I did at that open mic, and it's gonna kill the way
Yeah.
the same way that it did at that open mic.
Yeah.
I went to this show and I bombed hard, like just hard.
How much time did you have on that?
I think I had I forgot if it was like 5 to 10, somewhere around
Okay.
there. Yeah, it was. I had a shorter. I mean, it was brand new.
Right,
yeah, so
right.
I had
Yeah.
a shorter set. And it was at a pool hall, and no one was there for comedy. Like I was interrupting like people's pool games to try
Right.
to tell them about, hey, let's check out my jokes. And just, oh man, like that was brutal. And I think that's the moment that we talk about that in comedy, that you're gonna bomb. Like
Right.
everyone is going to bomb
It's just
at
when
one
you're
point
gonna
or
bomb,
another.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, and how you handle it. And I think once that happens, it's like, I think that's when you know if you have the bug or not. It's
Right.
either you say, okay, that's enough, I never want to do that again, or you say, all right, I'm gonna get back on that horse. Let me figure out,
That's
why didn't
tough,
they
man.
laugh? What didn't work? How
Right.
can I get them? How can I pull them in? And then that becomes the art of it, is finding where you can connect with your audience and have that back and forth. You can feel it when they're with you like
Right.
that. Gosh,
I'd freeze up.
Nah, I think you're naturally just spontaneously crazy.
No, but I'd be like one of them comedians that steal everybody's jokes. Because I know
Carlos Mencia.
I'll be
Carlos Mencia?
2.0, and I'll just because
Steve
I've
Harvey.
heard it before, and I was like, well, fuck, that was funny.
That one
But then
killed.
it would be like Chris Rock's joking shit, and I was
Yeah.
like, what the fuck?
So how hard is it to avoid? Because I know, like you said, you grew up listening to Carlin. You grew up to listening, and it's crazy because all the comedians that you mentioned, all their styles are completely different. There's nobody that's
Yeah.
within the same
Carlin's
niche.
hilarious, man.
Carlin was just fucking. Carlin was ahead of his time. He was way ahead of his time, man. He had
Smart
all
man,
this-
dude. The way he would just put
Like
things.
conspiracy
yeah.
theorist hero.
Well, I mean, for so many of them, I love for different reasons. Carlin, he was a wordsmith.
Yeah.
He was so good at getting this precise wording, and he would do it to where, you'd be following him, and he'd make this big statement, but it wouldn't offend you.
Right.
Even if you
Yeah.
didn't agree with him, it'd still make you kind of pause and have to go, huh? That's,
Yeah, makes you
there's,
think.
yeah, there's something there. I think the closest to him now, modern, it would be Chappelle. I think that's
Yeah.
You see,
where-
so Chappelle. All right, so let's get right into it then. Chappelle, I think right now, after surviving the being canceled or the being crazy, or after he left the show and all that, Chappelle is on his own tier now, where he can do no wrong. I don't know. I know we were talking earlier. I don't know if you guys saw the last Chappelle special he had on Netflix.
Dreamer.
Yeah, I was actually very disappointed with it.
Really?
Very, because for Chappelle being who he is and what he is, and keep in mind, I'm a huge Chappelle fan. Love everything and anything he's ever done. But he's on the point right now on Netflix where I think Adam Sandler is when he's making his movies for Netflix. He got contracted for X amount of shows, and he's just putting out whatever just to put it out, not necessarily putting out his product. You know what I mean? And
he acknowledged it.
yeah, because I know he's just like
Yeah.
he just forced it.
Well, I told
Almost.
you I saw him. I saw him just I want to say like 3 days ago. It was,
Yeah, if you want to go ahead and recap that story.
So yeah, I told you a little bit about it in the car. But so one of my favorite things about being a comic and being in LA and is the comic privileges, I guess,
Right.
in a way. So there's an understood, unspoken rule that if you're a comic, you're allowed to go hang out at the comic store. You can go hang out whatever show, sit in the back if there's room, and just observe. And it's just they respect that you're there. You're learning your craft. You're seeing these people.
Right.
I was hanging out at the Comedy Store, and one of the door person turned over, and she's like, "Hey, you're gonna be here for a while?" She's like, "You should go get into the original room." And right then I saw Chappelle and Chris Rock came up on stage as a duo, so they both were on stage
Right.
together. Which, by the way, just a little side, it makes me feel weird to see Chris Rock like that, because he's almost like subordinate to Chappelle in a way, and to me, Chris Rock is he's so great, like
Right.
he's in his own ranking, but when he's there with Chappelle, he very much plays the sidekick. Like
Right.
he even sits a little bit lower than Chappelle. Like Chappelle's on the high stool, Chris Rock was on the low stool.
Yeah.
Chappelle's a man.
Well,
I know, yeah, but I mean, but so
right
is
now he's
Chris.
a,
You know, Chris
Yeah, but right
is
now
great.
he's-
Yeah.
But right now Chappelle's got the heat though. Right now he's everything.
So he talked about that special right away. He opened up with that when he came, because this was just a surprise drop, and he wasn't booked. It was he just came in to talk to the crowd, and he does this sometimes. I got to see him, just a little side note, a little side brag. I got to see him right before Sticks and Stones. He was doing the same
Okay.
thing where he just pops into the Comedy Store,
Test some stuff
and
out.
just test some stuff out. Wants to kind of see the vibe of the audience and
Right.
communicate with them and see what what he can conjure up there. So he pops in, and he just starts talking to the crowd. But he said, "This is my victory lap after the Netflix thing, after being done with Netflix." He said, "I'm not bound by any contracts. I don't have to, I don't have to do anything."
Right.
But he, as the night went on, like it was a very interesting night, like having that dialogue between them. He ended up, I guess I'll talk about that. But at the very end, he talked, I think he was a little drunk by the end, and then he just kind of paused, and he said that Dreamers wasn't his best special, and,
Right.
he knew it. He knew that he was just trying to get it out there because
Really?
Netflix
Yeah.
told him,
I kind of liked it.
I mean, it wasn't bad,
No, but it's not at his standard.
No.
yes,
think.
but compared to other
Oh,
ones where
no,
that
yeah.
where it kind of where he would kind of blow you away with some of the stuff that he would say. He even said that he realized, one, that he was just putting it out just to put out, and that he had worked the jokes too much, that he felt that he had toured them too much. So,
So everybody heard him.
When you're building that special, you're going around, you're trying out jokes in different cities, and then you kind of once you're done with your tour, then you make your special. He said he had toured it too much, and he forgot what was funny anymore. So the jokes weren't fresh to him. He was just kind of reciting what he knew, and you kind and thinking back to it, you kind of can feel it in some of. There was a couple jokes in Dreamers that for me didn't land, and he tried to call back to them, and I think that was where I felt it. I mean, of course, more power to him. He's amazing.
Right.
He also kept talking about himself as the greatest comedian on this earth.
Yeah, he was drunk.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's on
Well, I
it.
like when he starts
He's
getting
on
into his little like stories, and he's like, the ending. He was like, "Give me a."
Dude,
I don't know. I like the storytelling, and
I think right now he's in a point where I think people just love and appreciate him so much right now, just for who he is or what he's been, that no matter what he says, he's gonna bring people, good or bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like for a while, Kevin Hart was there when he was filming like 3 specials and 10 movies and all that. Like no matter what he could read a fucking encyclopedia and be like, "Oh my god, this dude's fucking hilarious." You know what I mean? Like your kid do no wrong. But like with the cancel culture now, I was actually a little bit taken back on this last special, because I know he's been what is it, the LGBTQT plus minus whatever. That community's really been on his ass, and he starts with that, right? He's like, "I'm not gonna make fun of these motherfuckers because they want to cancel me, they want to get rid of me. So now I'm gonna go on and make fun of retarded people." I was like, "Dude, you can't say, like, the R word is not allowed." You know what I mean? And
it's comedy,
and,
man.
No, I get it, but I mean the fact that he even made the whole like disabled, like he made a notion of a dude being disabled in the back laughing and whatnot. And the only thing that ever came out of that, any backlash that I ever heard, was that he mentioned the LGBT or a transsexuals because of a joke he made about Jim Carrey, which I think had no impact at all.
That was funny.
But then I was like,
How he
dude,
looks at-
but when I saw the bit he did about, you know, this disabled dude, I was like, yo, that when I saw it, like, I was like, it's hilarious. But that this is gonna get this motherfucker in trouble again.
Because he did the
Not
body,
one
he did the
fucking
hand.
mention. Yes, he did the laugh, the man. He did the whole thing. Not one fucking word.
Yeah, I feel like at this point
Disabled
he's just trolling, like, because he knows like, no
Yeah,
one's gonna,
he's
you know, he's already said everything to say.
Yeah.
I mean, that was, I think that was one of the things that I loved about watching him is you know he didn't shy away from topics.
He don't give a fuck.
At this particular when I saw him at that pop-in, he started talking about Israel and the way that it came up, it was so interesting just to watch him work and not shy away from certain topics, and that was something that, you know, I have to give him respect for. So he, like I said, you can tell he didn't have a ton of things prepared. He was just feeling out the audience. He called out, there was this one guy in the audience. He said, hey, and he goes, oh, first he's making fun of the way the guy looked. And then he says, you look like you're Israeli. And the guy says, actually, yeah, I am. He's like, I'm Israeli and I'm Palestinian. And so he goes, oh, and he goes, well, I have to ask you, because what's your opinion about what's going on over there right now? Right. And the guy paused and he gave a nice remark about the deaths and how he feels. And then Chappelle said something, that Netanyahu, made a little joke there. And then a woman in the back, about 30-year-old woman in the back, and she shouts out, don't be talking about anything that you don't know anything about. And directly at Chappelle, and everybody kind of like paused and like turned over, and you could tell the audience, they're all there for Chappelle, and they kind of turned to her,
right.
And she wanted, they wanted to stop her, and he goes, no, let her speak. And he gave her the floor, and he let her, say everything, and she started spitting out, we were protesting for 41 weeks, and this happened on this day, and then the next day this had this many deaths, and then and she's going on, and she's passionate about this thing, and he keeps bringing it back to comedy, but he lets her talk, and then and Chris Rock chimed in every once in a while talking about you can't defeat racism because it's an idea, you can't defeat Hamas because it's an idea, and so that was a very like good little insight that he did. But they kept going for about an hour of this back and forth, and the woman was getting mad, and she even at one point she started picking on Chappelle, where she was, are you mad, huh? And you look like you're mad, and she got really attitude-y. And then the way that he would just very kind of pause and say, oh no, I'm not mad, my country's going to be fine, and then just turns over, takes a little sip of his drink, comes back, and he kept it funny, and then he broke her down, but not in like a bad way. In a, eventually, she said everything. They kind of started coming to, to a middle ground. Right. And then he paused and he looks at her and he goes, oh, he's like, what's going to fix this? What's going to fix this between you and I? You and I, fuck. Face to face, your hot breath
that usually fixes everything.
Mine, and he's like, and he keeps going on, and you see her, she's like mad, and then she just starts to crack just a little bit, and he was like, your hot breath. He's like, I want you to be like, oh, I hate this big black that's making me feel so good. He's like, and then I'm gonna suck on your nipples, and he's like, I can't tell if they're brown or pink, but whatever they are. He's like, and then at that point, she's like, okay, you're getting disrespectful now, and she'll she kind of pauses, then he goes, and then that's when he quickly he switches it around, he goes, being disrespectful, we're in a comedy club. He's like, I don't think you realize where you're at. And then he goes, he's like we're having fun, and then and then she kind of brought back, and he kept doing this, and he kept going back to that, but we're gonna fuck face to face, your hot breath against
some people shouldn't be in a comedy
in a
comedy club,
and then you see her start to break down, and eventually she goes, well, actually, you're making me a little horny now.
Chappelle will do that.
Yeah. And it was so interesting to see, I mean, and I can't say that I necessarily condone there was some parts that made me feel uncomfortable, but the way that he brought it back but he did it in a very tactful way where, and like I said, it was an hour of this conversation, and he was letting anybody chime in. So if somebody had an opinion over here, let them speak. This person has an opinion over here, let them speak. And we had this whole group conversation, and he paused. He goes, look at this. He's like, look at this conversation that we're having right now. Right. And we're not having it in the government level. We're not having it at Congress. He goes, we are having this open discussion at a comedy club, at the comedy store. And he goes, this is, and he said, we're going to remember this night. He's like, we'll remember this night. And he goes, mark my words, they're going to write books about me one day. And who knows, maybe, but I will say, that I did respect the, just being able to not shy away from these tough topics. And even when you have these passionate people, and then get, and finding a way to make them smile. And I think there's just something about comedy and about humor, where if you can make someone laugh, you instantly open that door, you instantly break that wall down. And it's that common language that, that love it. I love it.
I mean,
but a lot of people, before they laugh, they look around first to see if everybody
if it's okay, if it's okay to laugh,
it's okay
they
to
want
laugh.
the approval.
Fuck, if it's funny, it's funny. I don't care,
You see, and it's funny that it's great that you're outlining that moment, because I think a lot of people don't give comedians the due respect that because a lot of these comedians, to be up there, first of all, you've got to be brilliant. You can't just have any like Jules is fucking hilarious, right? But you got to get to know Jules before you find him hilarious.
That'll just be annoying.
Like sometimes he's just like, oh man, it's like this guy, like what the hell, But then when you speak certain, like one thing I've been noticing with the best comedians, they come in with a message, but you got to make comedy around that message so you could get through that. In this case, being able to have that open conversation with somebody and be able to do that, because a lot of times people just think, these guys are out here just making dick jokes and whatever, just because that's the only funny thing. But if you actually sit back and think about like a lot of this shit people say, like Bill Burr right now, he's fucking son of a bitch or something else. I mean,
he's crazy.
He's fucking hilarious, but you can relate to him because even though he's fucking this crazy old Irish redheaded crazy fuck, it's like, damn, I could see myself doing this shit. I could see myself yelling at people like this,
having meltdowns.
This motherfucker's on it, because like we all go through that shit. But I think like it's hard to write shit, because there's so many. No matter what you do, you could come out and this guy stole my shit, right? Because it's similar topics, similar, not exact. Now, if you go verbatim, you do the Amy Schumer, the Carlos Mencia, the Steve Harvey now, from what they're saying.
Cedric Schumer, she was stealing shit?
Yeah. Cedric the Entertainer.
I'm a big fan of Cedric, man.
Yeah. And you hear all that. It's hard. When you're doing shit verbatim, that's kind of rough. That's, as a comedian. Because how long did it take for you to perfect a joke?
Oh, I mean, I think I'm still working on, like all my jokes.
Yeah.
I think it's always like kind of like that work in progress. Of
right.
Like, oh.
Yeah.
And even different audiences, you're going to say it a different way, depending on where you're at.
Yeah, because I know we mentioned earlier about a Club Shay Shay podcast. He had a Cat Williams.
That was
and Cat broke the fucking internet. Cat.
That was really quick. Going back to Chappelle. That's what he said. He goes, "I have the most popular comedy special, in the world right now, aside from the Shay Shay Cat Williams interview."
That dude's
Cat.
He's a loose cannon.
Yo, Cat threw hands, boy.
He's hilarious though. I mean,
but he was saying, he goes, the thing that made him mad is that it took him. So the joke that Cedric stole from him about the spaceship or whatever, he's like, dude, it took me 6 years working on that joke, and this motherfucker came out and did it like if nothing on a fucking special, and everybody thought he was the funniest guy on earth, and he didn't give me no credit.
Yeah.
And it's like,
and then when he pointed it out, I mean, I remember seeing, we all seen, Cedric's, but I was like, it looked familiar when he was doing it. And then now that he pointed it out, I was like, I know where I saw that.
Well, shit, he even went back to when he was the Cat in the Hat. He wasn't even Cat Williams. He was the Cat in the Hat. That's what he was known as on BET.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was known as that on BET. And he said, the thing I think that pissed him off the most is he said, like, look, I get it. Because, when you go out there and you put out, you're thinking about your set, right? Your last joke is going to be the joke that brings it down.
Right.
That's the one that's one.
It's your closer.
You got to have something to fucking everybody remember you for. That was his closer.
Oh, yeah. I saw
and
that.
he was like, this motherfucker.
Yeah, now he can't do it.
This motherfucker came out and stole my closer. And
it's
like,
tough, man, because there's always that argument of stealing jokes versus parallel thinking versus versus just saying it. I go back and forth on it because sometimes you can tell like in that case if it's copying word for word, then that there's something. And there are certain comics that will. I shouldn't name names, but Felipe Esparza is somebody who comes in, and he did this to one of my friends. I'm not gonna throw him under the bus, but one of my friends he asked him. He said, hey, he was a local comic, to El Paso, and he said, hey, he goes, what's your best joke? Tell me your best joke. And then my friend tells him his best joke.
Okay.
And then Felipe Esparza goes, you shouldn't have said anything. You never tell anybody your best joke. Yeah. He goes, that's my joke now. Yeah. And he went up on stage and he did it. And he said if you have a joke, and he goes, but I can tell it better, it's mine now.
Oh.
And he just straight up stole his joke like that. Just went out and did it. And that was it. My friend had to retire that joke. But he was like, the way that he said, he was like, you fucked up. You shouldn't have told me.
I was fucked up, but he
shouldn't have said.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, I would have said it too, because I would have thought, if I was in that new comic position, I would have thought Felipe Esparza offering me a job. That's what I would have thought. I thought he's trying to see if I can open for him. And then for him to do that and just be like, oh yeah, sucker. Like,
well, there's been a lot of negative stuff coming up about Felipe too lately. I've
Tough
been
love.
seeing, dude.
Really?
Yeah, dude. He's a fucking prick. He's a prick, and I guess that stealing of jokes is like, and that motherfucker can't even talk English right. Like,
maybe that's why he used to steal those jokes. He used to steal those American jokes.
I think he even had a falling out because I think he came up with Fluffy, right? Was it Gabriel Iglesias that he came up with? And then they had
I never found him funny at all. Like Fluffy.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that's
Pikachu.
Yeah.
You really?
Yeah.
You laugh at him?
Yeah.
He's funny.
Yeah.
He's all right.
Really?
He has his thing.
So right now, somebody ask you top 5 comics right now. Who would you put on that Mount Rushmore of top 5?
Alive or can I name?
All right, so you want to go of all time? Let's go of all time then.
Yeah, dead or alive.
Dead or alive.
So my all times, Robin Williams is my big one. Just because he's just my guy. yeah.
Oh, I love that dude.
Robin Williams so much
Rest
just
in
for everything that he does, because he's an actor. He can do drama. He can do he can write. He can play whatever character you play him, and he's also funny, and his improv and everything is so impressive.
It bums me out when I see Robin Williams. He how it ended up being, just how it ended.
There's a lot of controversy there. I don't like getting into it.
I love that. I love him.
I don't believe a lot of stuff. But
we'll get into it right now. We'll get into it right now.
Sorry.
Well, because I saw another thing that he was just sick, and he wanted to choose how he was going to go out.
Parkinson's is what they were saying, right?
It was
or
something else, and
MLS?
it was a different degenerative mind thing that was affecting him.
Like Bruce Willis. I think that's what's going on with him. But he's poor dude, man. Poor dude.
Yeah, sorry to bring it down.
Top 5. So Robin Williams.
Top 5 comedians.
George
of all
Carlin
time.
for his ability to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Surprisingly, I a lot of my influence was Kathy Griffin.
Wow.
Which I liked her because of the way that she was able to converse with the audience. When I would watch her, it just felt like I was watching one of my friends tell me a story, and she had this very okay, guys, let me tell you about and just that delivery really resonated with me. So I love the how conversational she was.
Okay.
Mitch Hedberg.
The king of one-liners.
Genius one-liners. And I still quote them to this day. Escalator never breaks, it just temporarily becomes stairs. Sorry for the comedians.
He OD'd, right? Is that what it was?
I believe so.
Damn,
Sorry, I caught something in my throat.
Oh, we're good. We're good.
Go ahead.
Let it out, girl. This is what we're here for. That's a bad juju.
Deep cough.
That's a Hollywood juju coming out of
I
you.
feel like I inhaled something. Okay.
Uh-oh.
Well, from California. Everybody inhales over there.
God, we had poor weather warnings or poor air quality warnings when I was leaving. That's something that you only see in LA.
Too much weed in the air. You
wouldn't know there was mountains up there, man, because you can't see them.
Can't see all the smog.
Yeah, all the smog. Yeah.
So who's the 5th one?
Ooh, 5th. That maybe because we're talking about I think Chappelle's up there now for me.
Wow. I
feel like there's somebody else, but that I'm gonna think of later.
Richard Pryor.
All right.
Richard Pryor is pretty great too.
Oh my God, he was my all-time favorite.
Yeah. Not to say anybody else isn't great, but
that's
my
your
little influences. Yeah.
So just recap. recap of your top 5 Mount Rushmore.
Robin Williams, George Carlin, Mitch Hedberg, Kathy Griffin, which is I know is a strange one, and Chappelle.
Yeah,
there's Chappelle up there.
Dude, I think okay. I mean, you can't knock it, right?
No, that's your personal.
Yeah, that's my personal. That's my. Well, those are my influences.
Right. So, as a female comedian, like how much harder is it doing the comedy gig? Because I know, like, first of all, as a woman on stage is kind of, especially around this area with the machismo fucking mindset.
Oh my god,
is really rough.
God, when I first started out, God, I got some really disrespectful audience members.
Really?
Like, Jesus Christ, yeah. Worst one. You want to hear the worst one?
Yeah, absolutely.
It was there I was. It was
me and the mic.
Yeah. First year doing comedy, like first few months doing comedy, and there was a comedy contest. So stakes were higher. It's a contest. So you're going up trying to be the funniest person or whatever. And there was this drunk guy who was sitting in the front row, and it's my turn to go up. I get up there, and then and the guy's drunk, and he's slumped over in the chair, and I'm like, all right, I can get through this. I can get through this guy slumped over. I'll just ignore the slumped over guy. I made a little comment about him, and then kept moved on and started doing my set. Then he falls over in the chair while I'm on stage. And so I'm like, okay. And I, make a joke about it and then try to get back on the show. Then the manager from the restaurant comes out and starts dragging his body across the audience to like take him back. And I'm like, okay, all right, let me try to get through this. I'm in this contest. And then there was I think it was my worst fear.
Was he the judge or no?
No. I could imagine. But there was some other guy in the bar who was like, yeah, take it off.
Yeah.
And so then I tried to make a joke about, about making fun of the guy and about how he couldn't tell the difference between female comics. And I tried to spin it around, try to figure out a way to spin it around. Next thing I know, I don't see the guy anymore. I turn over and the guy is behind me. The take it off guy is behind me, standing on a speaker and doing some stuff behind me. I'm like, what are you do? Like, get down from there.
Yeah.
And then so he had to go back to his seat, but it was just like one thing after another. Like, it was so hard to get through. It was like I felt like I was around children, and I did make fun of it, and I did kind of find ways to like bring it into my set. But I think especially as like a new comic, and then on this like content, I was like Jesus, yeah. And then just the take it off and like that kind of stuff, being a female. Side note, one of my favorite things about that was I would have
taken it off.
Plug it.
There were 3 women.
You really want this?
That's what the crowd wanted.
There were 3 women on this lineup, and he did that to me. He did that to one of the other females, and then there was another one that wasn't particularly
attractive.
Yeah. Without she went up, and then when she went up, she like paused, and then the guy didn't say anything to her.
She got offended.
She got like offended. She was like, "Oh, I don't get anything." That was
hilarious.
Like my favorite. Yeah, that's one of the worst, the hardest things about being a female is that there is, I've had the the rapey producer situation
really
that happened. Yeah, and it was the
casting
classic,
couch.
It was the classic thing. Like when I first started out, like the very classic like Me Too story.
Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, I mean, then you do see that stuff. That one was actually. Do you want to hear the story?
Yes.
Or is it too dark? Is it too dark? Because I'll tell you the story.
We were almost crying right now. Earlier, talking about Robin Williams.
It just bums me out when I think about Robin Williams. It bums me out, man.
What better way to go from Robin Williams to rape?
Let me tell you guys.
Bring it back. Bring it back.
Get ready. Some lighthearted. So the candles were lit.
So a good rapey story.
Because that stuff happens, man. And I was so
nice. It has a happy ending.
Not here. Not at this podcast.
You're so naive in it, when you start, and you kind of trust people. And one of the common cultures within the people hang out afterwards, and right. Sometimes there's weed, and people hang out and smoke and stuff. Mm-hmm. This was before I was living in LA. I was living in El Paso, and there was a booker he was originally from New Mexico, but he was also doing things in LA. Mm. He did a show in LA. And I was like, great, I'm going to be in LA. That's when I was thinking about, moving up there. So I went to go do that show.
Okay.
he was supposed to, and I knew this guy. I had done a couple of shows with him before. We had mutual friends. Like, I felt comfortable. He was supposed to give me a ride after that show back to where I was staying in LA. When we finished the show, he had to go stop by. He was going to give me a ride, but he had to go stop by his hotel really quick to pick something up.
Classic move.
Before
the old hotel. The old hotel trick.
Before we continued on our way. And I don't think much of it, and so I'm like, okay, whatever. So I go up with him. I'm in there, and as soon as we in there, I'm like, okay, I thought I was going to grab his thing, and we're going to be on our way back out. And then he starts like kind of, getting through some stuff. And like, oh, are you sure you don't want to stay? I'm like, no, I'm sure we don't want to stay. And like, I'm like, well, okay, well, why don't we just smoke really quick? Yeah, like, why don't we just smoke really quick, and then we'll go. Okay, sure. And there are all these things where I feel like people could be like, oh, you messed up there, but like, you don't. If you're with somebody, you think they're your friend, or you think it's like fine.
I heard like 10 spots.
I know, right? Because it's already, I already hear it, because it's like, well, why'd you go in the hotel? It's because we didn't,
it's
right.
That's where you're staying.
Yeah, you didn't.
You had me at hello.
There was nothing that gave an indication that there was anything other than going up to grab something and coming right back down.
Okay.
That's a Bill Cosby move.
Yeah, it was a real Bill Cosby. And so we go, and I'm there, and I start like doing some stuff, and then suddenly he comes up behind me and presses himself against me, and
was it a small apartment, or
it was a hotel room?
A hotel.
So so he presses himself against me, and I can feel it, and I turn around, I'm like, whoa, like, whoa, man, like, and I'm trying to be cool about it, like, and so I'm like, whoa, like. I hope that there was nothing I did that gave you that impression, but I'm not, I'm not doing this. And I was like, plus I'm dating somebody, and the person that I'm dating, I'm dating this other person, somebody at the time that I was dating. I was like, so I think we'll just excuse this and let's get on our way. And then he starts like, he's like, are you sure you don't want to stay? And then he starts like doing push-ups on the ground. Like he just suddenly just starts doing push-ups, and he's like, and it was just like, and I'm like, okay,
what?
let's go. And he's like, I don't know how I can convince you. And I tell him, like, okay, this is not about convincing me. I was like, I said no, and let's just go. And then I start, and he's like, well, he's like, it's because I like you, and then I can kind of tell him, like, okay, this is getting weird. And I said, I'm just gonna call an Uber. And so I take out my phone. I start calling. I start getting to the Uber app. And then he sees that I'm doing that. And he's like, no. And he's like, no, don't. And he comes close to me. Then he puts his arms like on. So I was he. Came close to me, so I kind of got backed up into the corner. He puts his arms on the corner and like gets close to me. He goes, it's just because you smell so good, right into my ear like that. And I remember just being like, whoa, and then I grabbed my things and I ducked underneath his arm and I run out the door. Like I just like ran, I booked it for the door, and he comes back after me, trying to like, come back in. Are you sure you want to come back in? I'm like, nope, my Uber's here. See you later. And I ran out, got in my Uber, and then took off. Well,
what the
after
fuck?
In some countries, you're legally married now.
After this happened,
you need a pregnancy test.
Then after this happened, then I go and I tell a couple of the comics like what happened. I told the guy that I was dating at the time what had happened, and I wrote to a few females, and I was like, hey, this is what happened, and I told it exactly
the way it went down.
And I was like, just a warning to the other females, and this is what happened. Well, then there was backlash, and then one of his buddies, this guy, I kind of want to name names because it made me upset, but this guy Jerry Carnes, who still does comedy out here. I don't talk to that guy anymore, but he turned around, and I wouldn't have believed it if I didn't see the messages myself. He started messaging my friends and telling them that that I was a liar, and that I was accusing this guy of rape, and that he would never do that. Whoa. And I was like, whoa, like, I mean, with you guys, I was joking about it being a rapey situation, but I never said, I said exactly what it was. And so then he started trying to slander me and saying that, like, that I was trying to use him so I could bring him down and steal his LA contacts, and which he didn't have any LA contacts. And this guy had nothing. And so it was a whole like slander campaign. And that's what I mean. It was like the very like classic Me Too, where I shouldn't have been in that hotel room, and like maybe I shouldn't have trusted this person to give me a ride home, and maybe all those things, but that's what happened. And then as soon as I told anybody about it, then it turned around and like, no, you're the liar, and you this.
And you knew the guy, right? I mean,
and
you
I
said
knew
you
the guy. Yeah, I knew him.
And he never gave you any weird vibes.
Never
nothing.
gave me those weird vibes.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, it was.
So the push-up thing didn't work.
Like,
It's gonna see. Yeah, I gotta get that out of my act.
Who
I
the
mean,
fuck,
yeah.
Who the fuck reverts
I can't
to-
use that anymore now.
Like, who the fuck? Like, you know what? I'm gonna make these advances. That doesn't work. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Let me
Maybe
do
this.
push-ups. That's gonna get her.
Maybe the first 3, because after that, I'm done.
Oh, he was. And this guy was like former military, so I saw like the that
the
flash in his
PTSD.
eyes. Where
Yeah.
he went like full animal mode, and was like when he was
He was
coming
like,
at me.
Hey, what's up, Charlie?
Like,
Charlie.
yeah.
Shit.
Like, no, I'm good, man.
But that guy did stop doing comedy, thankfully. After that, I think so. Even though they tried to like come back at me, I think it did affect enough to where people
Should I break out the napalm?
This
But
is
yeah, but I mean, those are the kind of things that you have to worry about.
up.
Where there's sometimes like different treatment. Being a female, I got upset.
You got to watch your drinks. You got to watch everything.
Oh
now.
yeah, I
It's
make
like-
that joke about like I don't trust you guys. Like I don't trust
Yeah,
anybody
yeah,
in this.
fuck,
But it's fun to joke about. But it
It's
really
true.
is. You
Yeah.
you kind of have to be tough
It's fucked up.
in this to deal with it. And a lot of those guys, they don't give a crap. Especially the older ones, like they don't give a crap. They're all gonna like throw. They're all gonna try to flirt with you. They don't.
Yeah.
They're gonna shoot their shot and whatever. And that's something that only comes being a female.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that I hate. Like I hate that always happens. But I also know that one day I'm going to be 75 years old and I'm going to wish that somebody.
yeah.
You're gonna be that third comic that came up with everybody told her about taking her.
You want
her
to take me to your hotel room? Come on.
No,
Do some
I'm good.
Let's do some squats. I'm gonna do some kegels.
I want you to throw your knee out.
I'll throw your back out.
Hey, but did your boyfriend get mad? I mean, did he?
He got mad. Yeah, he did get
yeah.
mad, and he helped to like kind of spread the word about what happened.
Crazy.
Yeah, but it sucks too because there's not much else I could have done about it.
Yeah.
Because technically, he didn't do.
Yeah, but
he
it was getting there.
But it was getting there, and so you can't press charges on somebody for getting there. It's just they have to actually do it. But
Have to actually get there.
yeah. But it
That was
was
some crazy
definitely getting there. It was definitely the line that I couldn't get on my head. Oh, you just smell so good. Like
That's a compliment, though.
Oh, it is. And the fact that he could do push-ups on the go, and just drop and get. That's
You like the way I smell? I just farted, man.
Dude, I've been sweating on
I just
stage.
shit on myself.
I should have done that. I should have
Been
done so
sweating on
much.
stage.
I would turn them on.
You got that smelly
Your
balls.
natural sense. I love your insights.
Oh God! Just dommering me. Don't look in the refrigerator.
You're not going anywhere.
Come on, just gonna take some pictures. Just relax.
Oh shit!
What's that barrel for?
Just relax. Watch the movie.
That's all good start. All movies start. Yeah, that's all these start. So is that the worst interaction you've had? Like as far as comedy now, when you go into
That's pretty
the
fucking bad.
acting and shit.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
When you go into acting and then we hear the acting couch and all
Yeah,
that
the
shit,
casting
the
couch.
casting couch. Is it even worse on that part of the business, or is it worse in the comedy part? Because
comedy 100%.
really,
Yeah, there's no HR in comedy. In acting, at least there's SAG. There's the union, and so you can, if something crazy happens, you can call the union and do that. Although I did before that was what pushed me to join the union. Was I did have a
Really?
sketchy audition. I did have a weird sketchy audition.
tell us about the sketchy
All right,
audition.
guys, here we go again.
Let's go
The
back.
woes of being a lady.
It was a black patent leather couch, right?
It's like apocalypse now. All of a sudden, and shit.
See, that's what that's the hard parts about being a lady. I'm aware that I can't go out at night because I am just a walking fleshlight to the right person. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, I'm just like,
Facts.
but,
Take your shirt off. Fucking crazy, man.
I just need an Uber.
but yeah, I had a sketchy audition before I joined the union. I had an audition. It was a self tape we sent in. I got a call back. The callback was on Zoom, and then the director just so happened to also be the one who's playing my boyfriend for the scene. And so he wanted to play off each other and see if we had any good chemistry.
Brilliant.
But thankfully it was on Zoom. So it was just on Zoom. And he stayed talking to me a little bit afterwards. He asked me, well, where I lived near, and I just mentioned the neighborhood, you know, that's something we commonly say. He goes, oh yeah, that's so funny. He goes, I live in that same street. I live close to there too. He goes, I live on the street. He names the street. And I was like, oh yeah, that's really close to me. He's like, oh, okay, great. And so we end the audition, or we end the callback. I get a second callback, in person, and I see the location. And side note, my agent was the one that got me this audition. So so she sent me the call back, and I see where it's located, the address, and it's that same street.
Okay.
And so I call my agent. I'm like, hey, like this seems like this is at his this is at his apartment. And she goes, oh, well, you know, sometimes that can happen. And I blame my agent too. I need a new agent. So just please, I need a new agent. She's like, you know, but if you feel weird, you know, I can call him up and, you know, just kind of let him know that we're on to him and see what's going on. So she calls him up, you know, and then she calls me back and she goes, okay, I spoke to him. I'm comfortable sending you out there. He said it's not ideal. Yes, it is at his apartment, but he assured me that you would not be alone with him for more than an hour. For more than an hour, for more than 15 minutes.
You only need 5 minutes.
In between people coming.
Oh, so there's foreplay involved.
Oh, yeah. That's a long time.
Damn, y'all are married.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's making love.
He's making love.
He's taking his socks off.
I shouldn't say for more than an hour. But he said for more than 5 to 10 minutes is what they had said. Is what they initially said. I would only be just in between when other people are coming in.
Right.
Okay. Say okay. So I get there. I get to the audition. I'm like, okay, my agent sent me here. Somebody knows I'm here. I go in, and it was definitely at his apartment. There was no one else there. The place was kind of a mess. Like it was very lived in. There was a back massager that was right by the couch where I was supposed to be. Where I was supposed to be doing things. He gives me a questionnaire to fill out. I start filling out the questionnaire. I took a picture of it because I couldn't believe it. But he starts filling out the questionnaire, and it says it had questions on there like, oh, what is your
favorite position?
Relationship status. It asks for relationship status, single, married, or in a relationship.
Or it's complicated.
It asks sexual orientation, and then it asked how open-minded are you? Scale from 0 to 5.
Okay.
But
and,
yes, and yes.
Please.
And I was like reading it, and I was like, excuse me, like how is this relevant? Like how is this relevant here? And I just found that online. It's just a standard questionnaire. You know, just you can ignore those questions if you want. Just make sure you fill out the part where it says height and weight.
Oh man,
that's very important.
I look at it and I look back and I go, there actually isn't a spot on here where it says height and weight. It's just these questions. And he's like, oh, we'll just put it in there on the top. And I'm like, okay. And so I'm just like, and all I kept thinking was like, because there were all these like red flags. I'm like, my agent sent me here. Whatever. And then so we do, there was 2 scenes. We do the first scene, and it's me solo on the phone, and he's giving me the back and forth, and he invites me to play with the environment while he films to show the producers at Netflix for his thing. And so we're doing the scene, and I use the window, I use the couch, and for my scene by myself. Okay. We do it. Second scene is a bedroom scene, and so we go, and he asks, "Is it okay if we use the bedroom for the scene?" And again, I felt like, but it was an open like loft style thing, and
Should've been on the questionnaire.
And so again, I'm like, okay, my agent sent me here, whatever, let's just do it. And so I'm like, fine, that's okay, we do it. And the scene was, he puts a necklace on me, and then I'm supposed to like turn to him, and then I go to the window, and I turn back, and then I'm supposed to kiss him and throw him onto the bed, and then we start to make love is the scene. So we go through it, and then it's a necklace, it's the thing, and I go to and it's the part where I'm supposed to kiss him, and I just end the scene there. I kind of just like look at it, and we're done.
You know what happens after that, right?
Yeah. And then he looks at me like he's kind of disappointed, and then he goes,
mouth open.
And he's because he's just, you can tell that he's like waiting for it, and then he's like, oh, and then he gets mad. He's like, oh, well, I guess since it's just the audition, I guess you don't have to do the kiss. He's like, but, and then I'm like, yep. And then in my head, I'm like, yeah. And this is this is only like a year or two after COVID, So I'm like, in my head, I'm like, are you making out with everybody who's coming in here? Like, what's going on?
We should have a mask.
Yeah, like it was just weird. And so we do it again, and he's like, well, let's do another take. He's like, I need to see your face a little bit more. So we're gonna do one more take. And so we same thing. And he goes, if there's anything else that you want to try, anything else that's in the script that you want to try that we didn't do, he's like, you can, feel free to do it. And I'm like, okay. And then, and then we do it again. And at first when he said that, I thought he just meant if I wanted, do a different version of it, or read it a different way, or something. So we do it, and then it gets to that part again. And then same thing where he's looking at me, and then he's, fine, I guess since it's just an audition, I guess you don't have to do it. And he's like, I had a hard out. Like I had to leave by 4:00, and it's approaching 4:00. And so I'm looking at the time, and I'm like, you only got me for a little while, man. We're out of here. And then he's like, well, it's just because, I really want to check the chemistry, and it's just because on this part, it says that we kiss, and then you push me onto the bed. So, and then he goes and he gets on the bed, and he's like, so, you push me here, and then you would, he starts gesturing. He's like, you would come over here, and he starts like patting his lap, and he's like, you would come, and you would have your legs on the side of me, and right here, if you would just if you would just come on over, like he keeps like gesturing me,
reverse cowgirl.
Yeah, he keeps like gesturing me to come on him, and I'm just like looking at him like nope, like no sir. And then I'm like, oh, you know what, I gotta go, I think we're good. And then so I was like, we're good. And I kind of just like left, and took off. And then I called my agent, and I was pretty upset with her, because I think she knew she put me in a bad situation, so she didn't want to hear about it.
You should carry a taser or some shit.
Yeah.
Like
she should have fucking been there with you.
Yeah.
Well, she was my agent from Texas. That's the reason why I need a new agent. She was a Texas agent, and she.
If I gotta do some shit like that, you gotta help me. So we're gonna have an orgy.
Yeah. So she just, she stayed on the phone with me, but she was like, she's like, well, we can pass on the project if you think.
Oh,
like,
yeah. No,
I'm like, yeah, we're gonna pass on the project. Like we're gonna pass. I don't even know there.
Was it legit though?
That's what I mean. Like it was like there was a title to it, but I don't know if it was that. Like there was other things about it that were just so red flaggy.
Did you look this dude up? Like,
yes.
And
was his director name Dirk Diggler?
His name was Nunzio.
Oh yeah.
That's
the wrong business, Mom.
That's the
I told you right now.
He looked like a somehow less attractive version of Tommy Wiseau. Is the vibe of this guy. Tommy Wiseau is the guy who did the Room.
Oh yeah.
Damn. That was definitely a smut film.
It was.
It's a snuff.
It was a snuff film.
I think it was a snuff film. Is what you.
Okay, so this is the part you get.
So was the part actually offered to you by any chance or no?
They were gonna have me come in again. He wanted me to come in again. And
wow.
I said no. That we're done. We're done with this man. Like this man was he was looking for. He was
trying to get laid.
Yeah, he was trying to get. Like, especially with like the questionnaire and then the all
That's
the things.
crazy.
It was like too much. Like it was almost comical. Like how much like this is very weird. This is very, very weird.
So how many roles have you had in either shows or movies as of right now?
Oh, I don't keep count anymore. But I've been on a lot of stuff. But right now, in LA, I'm working often, so I get booked a lot. But lately, it's been a lot of. I mean, I'm still new, so I'm still climbing the ladder. So I've been on Good Trouble as a waitress on Good Trouble, which is an HBO show. I was one of the townspeople on a Disney Channel show. There was just a lot of few. I was on Jane the Virgin, but I'm always I've been somebody that's there, little parts here and there. Laugh Mobs Laugh Tracks was one that I got to be on for 2 seasons, and that was really fun. That was a sketch style show. So a lot of fun stuff. I come back to El Paso often because I love the indie scene here.
Okay.
And so here I get to work with friends and really dive into some bigger fun roles, and I'm really impressed with the film community down here.
Have you had any of the intimate scenes that you've actually filmed, or have to do anything like with you were saying with this guy, like kissing or the whole acting part? Because I think that's always something I always found weird. You know what I mean? As far as like an actor, like you gotta, like say for example, all the nudity shit, and then you got to go on and you full on make out with some dude, even though it's for the scene or whatever. You know what I mean?
That's gotta be hard. Like,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Have you done any of that?
A lot. Oh yeah, very often.
Is that
Yeah.
how do you get through? Like how? There's no fake
Yeah, they're
kissing,
like fucking-
right? It's a full on.
Yeah. Do you want to hear the story about
Yes.
the sex scene?
We should have started off with the story. We should have started off with the story of a sex scene.
Yeah, no.
How is
Sometimes
that?
it gets it can be weird. But I did have to do a sex scene one time in here in El Paso. It was a feature film that I got to be a part
Okay.
of. I won't name any names because it's just the story.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
story is just fun for me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was because the project was amazing. Everybody on it was amazing. It was a beautiful project. But I liked the story for comical reasons.
Right.
But they, I was partnered up with this guy who he was like a musician down here, so I think he kind of had a little bit of an ego that came with him. He was a front man for a band.
Okay.
And then his girlfriend ended up being the director of the film, and it was her project that we
Oh, wow.
that we were shooting.
Yeah.
And again, she's amazing. I highly respect her. Did not like the guy very much. And so and he was my love interest, and I was the main character in this feature film, and so and he was our romance was very much a
Centerpiece.
a big centerpiece of the film. And it was also awkward because then she started dating, the director started dating him. So I had to do these love scenes, with this person who I respect, with her boyfriend. And
During the shooting, they started a relationship, or
yeah,
okay.
I think they were trying to keep it quiet, but it got out, and then once we knew, then I felt a little strange.
Yeah.
But the day of the shoot, there was a lot of anxiety around it because it was, it was intimate, and it was, we didn't know how we were going to do. I had a coach that was with me through a lot of it, and I thought that he was going to stay with me for the shoot, but it turned out that he had a gig that night, and they wanted just a skeleton crew for that shoot, so he wasn't going to be there. But he was the one that was very adamant about everybody keep their clothes on. He wanted us to have a ball, like a rubber ball that you put in between your crotch. That way, when you're on each other, you can roll on the ball, so there's not actually any contact.
Okay.
Sounds painful.
On it. Well, maybe for the guy.
Yeah,
but that was, that he was the one that was very adamant about that, and he had requested that before. However, my other actor that I had to be with was very much not on that. He wanted to method act, and if it was up to him, we would have been actually having sex. I think if it was up to him, he wanted us to
realism.
He was pushing for us to be fully nude, and he was my acting coach thankfully was like you are not you. If your pants come off, I swear to God, like
Yeah.
And he had said that before. So day of the shoot, I walk in again. There's a high anticipation or anxiety because of what's going on.
What days?
It's sex day, and so we walk in, and I'm sitting there. The director's there, the guy is there, and another one of the guys is there. The guy who's pulling focus that day walks in, and he goes, "Hey man," he tells my love interest. He's like, "Hey man, I was thinking about you today while I was getting ready."
Ooh.
And
That's weird.
And he was like, "Oh yeah," and he goes, "Yeah man." He goes, "Today is your birthday, and you get to shoot a sex scene on your birthday, and at midnight it's going to be my birthday, and I get to be pulling focus on for a sex scene on my birthday. All right." And then they high five each other
Right in front of you, like, what the
right
fuck
in front
is-
of me and the director. And so we kind of just like see him, and it's like and then she sees them, and she goes, "Well, I'm glad I could make your birthdays great." And then just gets awkward and storms out the room. And so I'm left in there after like seeing all of that, just like, all right. And that set the tone for the, for the rest of the shoot.
Who's this focus guy? Quagmire from fucking Family Guy? What the fuck is going on here?
So
Shit.
So that's how it starts.
right.
Then that's when that's when my acting coach is like, "Oh, and by the way, I have a gig, and we didn't get you the rubber ball that we requested. Instead, we got you this pool noodle. So they got us a lime green pool, very thin pool noodle, and that was supposed to be what was going to be the barrier between our crotches. And then I think that the other actor requested this, but we were together for about 3 or 4 hours before we actually went to the shoot. And the whole time he was like I think he was trying to put the moves on me to try to ease things.
Right.
And he like, right away he's like, I brought a bottle of Jameson if you want some.
That's the devil.
I'm like, no, buddy, I'm good. I'm good. I'm a professional actor. Like, I can do this. And he's like, all right. He's like, well, I'm just thinking, to kind of loosen things up so we can, get in the mood. And again, I'm like, I'm a professional actor. I don't need that. Like, I'm, I can turn it on. Like, again, going back to your question, like, I can turn it on. Like, I can be, who I need to be in the moment. And so, but not for him. And so he's there and he's trying to show me, look at these music videos of me and trying to do that. And it felt like a rapper trying to show you their mixtape. Like, hey,
the greatest hits.
Like, check me out. Like, and you could tell that probably works on some girls for him or something. And I'm just, okay, that's great. I'm gonna keep on getting in my zone for my scene. And
thinking about the noodle thing.
yeah. And he keeps on
eliminated.
It keeps on going on and keep on trying to. And then he tells me, he's like, oh, I hope you don't mind, but I took some ecstasy before this.
Fuck yeah. Now it's a party.
What the fuck?
Now it's a party.
So this guy's just fucking getting drunk,
and shit,
drunk, taking some Molly, getting ready to party for our sex scene. And so I'm just like, oh Jesus. And he keeps on trying to try to work on me. And then he even tells me, he goes, Sean Penn once said to his acting partner before a scene, sorry if I do and sorry if I don't, in reference to him getting an erection. Yeah. And so I'm just like, oh, okay. and then it keeps on getting more and more awkward. The more that he's trying to break me down, the more uncomfortable I'm feeling. And then a little bit before, he just snaps and he's like, can we just make out or something before? He's like, and I'm like, and I pause and I look at him, and thank goodness, right at that moment they come and say, okay, you guys, we're ready for you, come on up. And so I'm like, oh, thank goodness. So we go up there, and when we're gonna do the scene, and the first shot was just we take off the shirts, we embrace, and then we fall back onto the bed, and that's the end of the scene. They just needed that. So they just needed the shirt, embrace, fall back on the bed. That's it. We go to do the scene, shirt, embrace, fall back, raging boner, just raging.
Sean Penn was right.
Like a metal pipe on me, and I'm just like,
he took Viagra.
Jesus. Like Jesus. And so he does. So he falls on me, and I can just feel him just like, oh, just, and they call cut, but he doesn't want to get up because he has a ridiculous huge bone, and then so his girlfriend, the director, goes like, okay, and I see him like not wanting to get up, I think because she's there, so he's looking at her, he goes, oh, while on top of me, okay, oh, so you want me to get up, go back to where I was? And he asked her a couple of times, like the same obvious question, and I realized that he's buying himself time, trying to get his boner to go down.
Oh no!
And yeah, so then when we actually had to like do the act, that pool noodle did nothing. I just got dry humped with a pool noodle. Is what happened during the scene.
Shit, you should have used that pool noodle as a fleshlight. It just kind of worked.
Excuse me, let me borrow this.
Yeah. Dude, had he done
it still smells like you.
You should have told him and been like, "Hey, good job not getting hard."
Right?
It just made him feel really bad. Like, oh, you didn't.
Maybe if you would have done some push-ups.
Yeah.
Maybe
I didn't feel anything. How did you do that?
I should would have came back.
You're a great actor.
You would have broke her if you had some push-ups, bro. That would have been the end.
But the movie was beautiful. The scene came out beautiful and artsy, and I didn't need to be naked. He insisted that he wanted me to be. There was nothing that was shown. That guy was just being.
It didn't even need to be.
No, that was so unnecessary. But yeah.
I mean, to be fair, as a guy, like Quentin Tarantino set the standard when he had filmed with Dusk Till Dawn, and he got Salma Hayek to come in here, put his foot in his mouth, and pour the beer down. I mean, he wrote that just for him. That's nobody in the right mind does that shit.
Oh,
he does that just.
Well,
for
I mean, when there's Selma, I mean,
oh, dude, I don't. And luckily, I think he toned it down.
That was a classic scene.
Yeah, he toned it down because what I would have done.
Yeah. You would have been that director. You would have been that. Hey, so the scene that I wrote here, it says that you get on my lap and then come on, let's practice.
And we're gonna take a lot of because I got to get her through all angles.
Not only can I do sit-ups, I could do fucking push-ups and squats. I'm gonna fucking burpee this bitch. Watch.
I still remember that scene.
Oh, dude, this shit out. Oh, bro, that should have been bad.
I still would have been sitting there in that chair. I would be like, "Are you serious? I can't get up, man."
I'm sorry if I can. I'm sorry if I can't.
Sorry if I do. Sorry if I do.
Damn, dude. The worst part is that was for his movie. You sat my hand. Fuck.
Oh no.
Oh shit. Dum-dums.
Oh shit.
So
that's fucked up. That's so dark. I don't even. Oh, dude. Yeah, that was.
Hey,
that was
good. That was good. That was good. I appreciate that.
This is what we're here for. Now you know. That's whenever he says sorry if I do.
Dude, how much bullshit you got to deal with? I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, but like I said, it's worse. It's got to be way worse for a girl. I mean,
oh yeah.
A guy, you don't have some guy like Gabriel Iglesias come out. All right, take off your shirt. Ain't nobody want to see that shit. It's like, all right, dude. You just the extra in the background.
For the record, I'll take as many times you want to do it. I'll do it for you. Get a good shot.
Damn, Jameson's and fucking. That's a fucking.
He was having a party night.
He's still tripping.
The ball, man. I don't really have the balls to do that in front of your girlfriend, who's the director. That's fucking awesome. She probably swings.
Maybe they were in on it. I don't know. He goes, "Look, man."
All right, so then. Going back to the Hollywood life.
The after party's going to be amazing.
I don't know if this is going to cancel you or not. I don't want to get canceled yet. No. It's got to be asked, though. Cat Williams talks about the Illuminati. Is there anything that you've seen or heard of crazy, like Illuminati stories or any kind of blood oaths or any of this other crazy shit?
Well, it's part. I mean, once you've been living in LA for 1 year, they do show up at your door with children's blood. And so if you drink it, you get to stay.
Yeah. It's delicious. It's delicious.
They come right after the Jehovah's Witnesses come through.
No, you know what? But Scientology is everywhere like that. It's almost eerie, like how much Scientology is there. Like the buildings are huge, massive. These huge signs.
There's mad money on that.
Yeah. There's a lot.
And
there's a lot there.
They hit you up though, right? Like
I had a buddy of mine from here who got caught up with them.
Really?
Because they'll try to lure you in. They offer you. This guy did. This should be a PSA. Everything not to do when you move to LA.
Don't get an audit.
Yeah. My buddy did everything that you shouldn't do when you get to, like, if you're trying to move to LA. All the things you shouldn't do. Like, you shouldn't give yourself a time limit. Because if you're gonna do it, you're gonna do it. So you don't. He gave himself. If I don't make it in 3 months,
I'm out. Yeah.
Because that's how all superstars make it.
No one's gonna show up. Yeah, no one's gonna show up in 3 months. Be like, "You're welcome, Hollywood. I'm here." It just doesn't work that way. You gotta build that contact. You gotta get your foot in. You gotta work it. He did that. He moved to Hollywood, which a lot of people move to Hollywood because they think that that's the place that you need to be.
Right.
Without knowing how close other places are, or better living places that are still close to the city. They just hear Hollywood, so they move there. So he was paying over $1,000 to live in the corner of somebody's living room in a 2-bedroom apartment that was occupied by 4 other people. So it was 5 people to a 2-bedroom apartment, and he was in the corner with just a little separator,
a cubicle.
Kind of. I'm trying to think of what they're called, but like those
geisha separators and shit.
Where people change behind. Like he had one of those things that was just up, and that was his little corner of the living room. So you could hear if somebody walked in and out of the door, they're walking through his bedroom to go in and out of the door. If you're in the kitchen, you're kind of in his bedroom. If you're in the kitchen, I mean, it was a tiny apartment for that many people, and he was paying over $1,000 a month to be in this little tiny spot. Yeah. And then he got caught up in the Scientologists because they offer free acting classes.
Really?
So they put out these little notices to come take a free acting workshop at the Scientology building. So you're an actor, you're new, you don't know any better.
Fucking Tom Cruise.
You go and you show up to the acting workshop. And he said that he went. But part of it is they make you fill out all your information. So you write your name, your email address, your phone number, where you live,
everything. Mailing list.
Everything. So they have everything on there for you. He he said he actually really enjoyed the acting workshop.
Yeah,
he had a good time. And so they caught that he had a good time. So they started approaching him afterwards. They said, oh, you should buy the book and you should stick around with us longer. Have you tried doing the, I forgot what it's called, but the meter thing that you hold on to and they ask you personal questions.
Yeah, that's that audit.
That's the audit.
So they asked him to do an audit. And he went back a few days. He said he actually started to enjoy it. He did the audit thing. He said they filmed it. He found, I don't know if they filmed it or not. I didn't ask him, but he said they found some repressed childhood trauma, and they kind of made him. It felt like he was kind of working through it. So he was like, I didn't remember this old memory of my stepdad, who did something to me. And he said so. And he said, so, kind of working through that, it really helped me. And so then after the next step, they said, well, we want you to help other people. So he came in and witnessed somebody else's audit to learn how to give them to people. Well, then they wanted him to start bringing his friends. You have your community, so start bringing all your friends over.
Right.
And then he started feeling a little bit weird, and they started asking for more and more and more from him. And then he was like, okay, you know what? I think I'm out. Because he even said that this part seemed a little embellished, but I mean, maybe that there was a woman who he was eating lunch, and there was a woman who was looking at him through the window, and once he caught eye contact with her, that she walked off, and so that made him feel a little bit weird. Well, then when he decides to leave, he showed me on his phone where they were sending him dozens of text messages from different numbers, all different numbers, and they were and phone call after phone call and voicemails, and they were, hey, what's going on? We haven't seen you in a while. What happened? Right. Hey, did somebody do something? Why haven't you been around? What's going on? And so when and he showed me on his phone, he goes, look, and also shortly after that, like I said, he's living in that living room. There was a female. Well, let me back up. So he remembers coming home. He distinctly remembers coming into the door and locking the door behind him. He distinctly remembers that, and then going to bed. Well, a little bit later, a couple hours later, he hears a scream from one of the roommates. She says that she saw somebody in her room with a cell phone flashlight looking around her room, and then they all heard the footsteps of somebody running out, opening the door, and running back out. And so he knows that, or that's what he said, he remembers locking it. So if there was somebody there, they must have been in there before he locked the door. And so that kind of like haunted them. And they don't know if it was anything Scientologist or if it was anything,
just weirdos.
But it was very coincidental that it happened right when he was leaving them, right when all these messages were happening, right when all that stuff was happening was when that incident happened. And he lived in like a not like an apartment that was touching the street. Somebody would have had to have come into the building and picked out that apartment. Wow. So I don't know. I think that's some of the kind of sketchy things. So that guy did not make it in 3 months. So he ended up moving back. But
Tom Cruise could break into anything. Yeah.
Well, he's the one that he's funding the whole thing now. I think he's like the main guy, isn't he? He's like
is he?
He's the head. He's like the second
in command
now.
No.
I mean, he's been like the spokesperson for a long time.
Yeah, like I said, like I was the most disappointing person I found was like Michael Pena was Scientologist. That shit fucking killed me. I was like, oh, fuck this guy.
Oh,
I like him, but not no more.
Yeah.
The one beaner we had, they got him.
Probably the only reason we heard of him is because he was a Scientologist. Yeah, I mean, we probably would never have heard of him.
Yeah, I don't know. Hope not. Hope not.
Who knows? I mean, he is really, the stunts that he does are pretty impressive.
Yeah. It's fucking crazy. So let me ask you, before we start getting ready to wrap it up here, where can people find you? Where can they follow you? Where can they get more of Jeni?
Oh, get all of Jeni.
Oh, shit.
Jeni.
I know, gotta stop. Don't start doing push-ups.
Where's your OnlyFans?
Hold on.
Where's your OnlyFans account?
Jeni .Robbins with 1 B. Short and sweet.
Or
R-O-B-I-N-S. R-O-B-I-N-S.
Are you on Facebook and also?
I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. And YouTube.
Which is the one that you found has given you the most, help or put your name out there more? The Facebook or the Instagram?
Oh, Instagram for sure.
Yeah.
Instagram's like your business card now, I feel.
Is it?
Yeah. Like people, when you meet them, rather than saying, oh, what's your phone number? How can you get in touch with you?
Yes.
What's your Instagram?
Like slide in your DMs.
Remember I was telling you that? Yeah. When I got on the dating scene, they were doing that. And I was like, that's just weird. It seemed like a creep.
Well, they had some things. Somebody was showing me they have those little cards now that you just fucking tap on back of people's phones and like their contact info, their DMs, their Insta.
Oh, and
all
one
that shit
important
comes out
question:
and shit.
In-N-Out or Whataburger?
Ooh, okay. Here we go.
Break it down.
Okay, so I don't think that you can say one or the other. I think that
Oh.
I think that In-N-Out is great if you want In-N-Out. Nothing else tastes like In-N-Out. So if you want that particular flavor, In-N-Out is In-N-Out. You can't really beat that burger.
Man, you hurt my feelings. Go ahead.
But for everything else, I think Whataburger wins. Whataburger is open 24 hours. They have a variety of a menu. You can go at any time. The burgers are customizable. So if you want a customizable burger, if you want to make it yourself and you want to add some avocado, some jalapenos, some grilled jalapenos on there and get all fancy
Animal
with it.
style.
Yeah, I mean they don't. But you can't get animal style at Whataburger.
Secret menu.
Yeah, you can't do animal style. Whatever, they're their own thing. So I think In-N-Out's grown on me, but just for that particular flavor, I'll sometimes crave In-N-Out.
In-N-Out team.
All right, so shotgun to your head.
Yeah.
You got to pick
Last
one or the
meal.
other.
Last meal.
One or the other.
Oh, last meal would be Whataburger.
Whataburger over
Oh
In-N-Out.
my god.
Oh yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So I'm saying I think I love Whataburger. I think overall Whataburger has more to offer. They have more pluses for them. But I can't knock In-N-Out. I can't knock In-N-Out. I like what they're doing.
But,
I think they perfected their thing.
That's very
But you
political.
pick-
That's a very political
But
answer.
she did go on record saying
did
that
say
Whataburger.
Whataburger,
right?
Yeah. Whataburger is always going to be. It's
Okay.
gonna be
Very
that's
political
their,
answer.
They're a special place in my
I
heart.
saw how you went on that. All right. So Jeni Robbins, JENI.ROBINS. What do you have coming up? I know you have something coming up this week. Actually, tomorrow, right?
So tomorrow I'm doing. Tomorrow I'll be at Phoenix. At Phoenix doing a little birthday show for my buddy Otis Hicks and Nico Ajimian, and then Saturday I'm with Border Laughs, and they're going to do a show with my guy Josh Castro. He's from Austin. Bring a mix of some Texas comics. A good mix on Saturday at a brewing company, Engine 3 Brewery on Zaragoza.
Okay.
So both of them start at 9.
Damn. So got to get there. Make sure if I put this out in time.
Yeah,
If I find out how to put this out,
And
time,
if not,
hopefully I'll
then
put it out
just
today.
catch me on my socials.
Yeah, so I know your socials. Do you ever take show video of either parts of your set or anything? Or
I haven't. I need to put some stuff up there.
just
Before
make sure
I was
you
a little-
block Felipe.
I know.
Block
he's
that
gonna-
motherfucker.
Next thing you know, he's gonna be coming there.
Yeah,
So I'm a lady. Let me tell you about being my
So
lady
this guy
problem.
tried to dry hump me.
Yeah.
He started doing push-ups on me.
Yeah.
So then, should I ask what's your best joke, or should we just cut that here?
Oh yeah, well come see the show.
There you
There you go. Yeah.
She goes
Decide
by
for yourself.
Jeni Robbins, JENI.ROBINS, actress, SAG union member, and comedian. El Paso's own, coming up. Make sure you don't blink, because before you know it, she's going to be taking over Michael Peña's spot in the Scientology.
Yeah. Future Scientologist.
Future Scientologist
I'll go drink that Kool-Aid.
of America, if that's the way it takes to go. Till next time, guys, don't be an asshole. Don't be a dick.
Deuces.
Deuces.
I would join.